the whole album.
Yeah.
No, I can't hear it that much.
Come on, lover, let's blow this scene. Let us hurry home and get between the sheets, between your lips and between your thighs. Let's seal the space between you and I. Kiss me now, kiss me hard. Let me feel the fury of your lonely heart. Fuck me now, fuck me long. Can you hear the love buried in this song? Come on, lover, let's die tonight in an orgy of sexual suicide. Let us tear the flesh right off our bones, and we'll fuck all night to the rock and roll. Kiss me now, kiss me hard. Let me feel the fury of your lonely heart. Fuck me now, fuck me long. Can you hear the love buried in this song?
Oh, I know what's going on. A lot of E major.
Come on, love, let's fall in love. Let's prove that there is a God above. Let's light a fire and dive on in. Let's become saints, engaged in sin. Kiss me now, kiss me hard. Let me feel the fury of your broken heart. Fuck me now, fuck me long. Can you hear the love buried in this song?
Oh, how creative I was back then.
All right. All right. All right. So I have no idea if. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not good. Hey, there's letting you know. Oh no, I haven't turned on the sound effects board, the soundboard. Give me 1 second. And I just realized that I don't have the here. Let me get the. No. I know. I'm not gonna learn a stringed instrument like right now. There's no fuck. Like, are you kidding me? After having played with Eric Summer, the man who's joining me on the screen right now, there's no fucking way I'd ever be like, oh yeah, I will play a stringed instrument and I'll do anything other than embarrass myself 100%. So yeah. So hey man, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's exciting that you're joining me. I think you and I have done. I mean, you and I have definitely done this when I was living in Los Angeles. But have we done this since I've been in Austin?
I don't think we have.
I don't think. Yeah. So that's like 8 years. That's like a small child that can speak with very precocious language number of years.
Yeah. Or in my case, a small child who's already reading James Joyce.
Yes. Yeah. Wait. What?
No, that's not true at all.
Yeah. Nothing but Finnegan's Wake nonstop. But yeah, man. So it's great. It's really exciting for me. So, and for those, and I know, so it's really funny. I know that my Twitch crowd has sort of diminished in terms of it, but ultimately, I still have like the crucial people, like and then also, at some point in time, this is the way I look at at the world of music. At some point in time, people will be like, oh, I'm figuring it probably 30 or 40 years from now, people will look back at this period in time and they'll be like, oh yeah, oh there's all the there'll be all the musicologists and what have you, and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's just all it's the same fucking song over and over. Oh, but there happen to be these people, these little pockets of people doing cool shit that were like. And and here's one little pocket happening out of LA and environs that were doing some really cool stuff, and they all knew each other and they all seemed to like each other for years. And how crazy is that? Musicians that liked each other over years, and then they'll drill into it and be like, oh yeah, this is some really cool music that was happening. So this, because on the internet everything lives forever. This is just a footprint, in the sand. Yes, there's a billion other footprints, but this is our footprint.
Yeah, and I do not doubt that some future musicologist who has about as big a following as I do will probably discover that.
Yes.
Write some sort of scholarly paper, and few people that are watching the stream right now will read it.
But no. But however, that one musicologist will feel fucking superior to everybody else on the planet Earth, and that is the important thing. That is the thing we are investing in him. You go, musicologist of 60 years from now. 60 years from now, a musicologist that found this and was like, yes, these are my people, and this is my sound. You're totally right. This is your sound. We are your people, and fuck everybody else.
And maybe if he's real lucky, he'll be able to get an interview with both of us as we are on our deathbeds.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hooked up to colostomy.
Everything. In 60 years from now, I expect that I'll have colostomy elbows and colostomy knuckles. Yeah.
If we're lucky enough by that point. Yeah. Now your Zoom video isn't on. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, no, yeah, because so you should turn on Twitch just so you can kind of see what we've got going on. Okay. You're going to be a little bit lagged, so you're not going to be seeing actually what's happening in real time, but at least give you a sense of the layout of what we have happening. So
okay, got it.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
and I'll probably have to mute Twitch.
Yes, no, yeah. So
it's for mature audiences.
Yes, and it is for mature audiences. Oh, of course, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I can do this then.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Unless you're above the age of 12 years old, you're not allowed in this stream. But yeah, hey Blue, how you doing, brother? Good to see you, Lenina, El Condor Pasa. How you guys doing? Yeah, this is so it's funny. It is for me. It's funny because I have, since I moved to Austin, my whole music career has been just nothing but that's the only thing I have to keep myself afloat. It was just music. I'm like if as long as I can produce stuff, I will feel like my life has some validity because I don't have anything else happening other than music. Until Isabella got here, and Sue. Well, first Sue, and then Isabella, and then now the little Moppet. And now I've got a family, and it's awesome. But until that point in time, it was just music was the thing that kept me going. But before that point in time, when I was in LA, and it's really funny because Eric. So let's talk, because I do want to talk about your music, man, and I do want to talk about what prompted you, because I know for a long time. I know for a long time you were reticent. You wrote songs. You've always written songs, but you kind of you weren't very comfortable like handing them off to the world.
Right, and I'm still not very.
Yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, well, obviously with your release schedule, it still makes perfect sense. Yeah. But even so, the thing is, but I do want to talk about all that, but I want to go back to even before then, because it was really funny because so for me, having grown up So I started making music with my friends in the band Arlo and my friends in the band the Halston Stop. So it was mostly Nate and Sean Spillane and Schmed and Soup. It was those four guys and me, and we were all this little community. Now, and the thing is and Eric knows these guys, and Eric and you were not an integral part of the scene in the early days of the scene, but you were there and you knew those guys and you liked their music. Yes.
Yeah, very true. And as is my way, I sort of avoided being an integral part of any scene. I tended to hide in plain sight, as I do with most things.
Yeah. No, I mean, in fact, that was the crazy thing for me. Like, because you were always, there was a point in time when you were omnipresent. Like, I would go to any show. I mean, it would be at Mr. T's, it would be at the Garage, or it would be at Kiss or Kill, or it'd be at like wherever there was some show happening, and I'm like, oh hey, and it was often you and then other friends, and then it was you and Emma, and then it was you and you're like. And so there was always a, oh, you're locked out of Twitch. Wait, what do you mean?
Oh shit, am I?
Oh, no. Curtis Lee said I'm locked. Oh no, so you're here on Facebook. Oh, why? Did you get banned, Curtis? Did you get banned out of Twitch? But anyway, so, but the thing is so it's funny because I knew you and we were friendly, and I remember us having conversations at Zen Sushi, like we'd have these long conversations about music or whatever. But I had no idea that you were a musician. I had no idea, and then until it was John Rustad was like, oh, we should totally get Eric. No, actually that's not so. I saw you play with XUK, and I was like, I was like, oh my God, Eric, wow, that's amazing. Like he played, I had no idea, but I never once thought, I got a new phone, I can't figure out that. Okay, well that's awesome, Curtis. Well, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you figured out a workaround. I'm not certain if you can see, but Curtis Lee, who's a one of my mods and a regular in this stream, he was like, I can't log in to my Twitch, but he's still here because you're a good man. So, so we were, yeah. So you and I would have these like long conversations about music, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I caught you with, it was XUK.
Yeah.
Where it was like
2003, but we didn't play at Kiss or Kill really.
No, it was
primarily an acoustic-y band.
And I want to say like it wasn't the Martine Lounge, but it was some kind of off the beaten track venue. And it was like,
yeah, what was it, like Universal Bar and Grill in NoHo, maybe?
Oh, that might have been what it was. Yes, yes. The thing is, it's like, yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's exactly what it was, because that was right down the street from our my lockout at the time, and I was like, oh, I can totally do that. I can do that really easily. And so, but anyway, so I showed up, and at this point in time, it was. So Eric was in a band with our good friend Simon, and Simon was and Simon's a wonderful songwriter and just a genuine sweetheart. And then I think Robin was on the drums. And
yeah, Robin was playing either bass or no, you know what? Robin was playing bass, and Simon Hancock from King Cheetah was playing.
Yes, you're right. That's crazy. Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah.
Robin and Simon were both in the King Cheetah with their friend Bob.
And so all of these guys, they're all Brits. So they all speak with a British accent. And they're all British guys, So I remember that. So anyway, so I knew Eric from the scene, and we had hung out and we had conversations. But the thing is, it's like, and I thought very fondly of Eric, and I saw him here, and I'm like, oh, he's a musician, that's great. But I never once considered like, oh yeah, what Gets That Go, this punk rock band needs is we need a string player, and we need, and so, but John Rust,
probably wise.
No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, which is sad because it's funny. John Rustad, my roommate at the time, this is like 2006. I was talking to Cooper. So Cooper of a band called Bang Sugar Bang. Bang Sugar Bang was one of the impresarios, and Cooper was the booker of the alternate, like, so there were two scenes that kind of lived in orbit around each other. One was the Mr. T scene, of which I was the impresario of, and then the other scene was the Kiss or Kill scene, of which Cooper was the impresario. Cooper was the booker, and then there was a guy by the name of Johnny 99, and he was like the promotions guy. And they kind of and that was like their team. And so there was another guy by the name of Matt Southwell, and Matt Southwell was sort of the heart and soul of that community. Like he was a guy who's like, yes, like he would give you a nod, like you're fucking amazing, and he'd be like, yes, this is great. We've got the nod from Matt, you know.
Yeah, good old Matt. I miss that guy.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna have him do one of these very soon. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, my hope is that I get each of us on individually, and then hopefully we can start doing like group versions of this where we're all hanging out and we're all kind of sharing stories. But anyway, so I don't want this preamble to be over long. But the thing is that like, so there was a point in time when I knew Eric for a long time as a friend, and then I was like, oh yeah, he's a musician. And then John Rustad was like, oh hey, we should invite, because I was saying, oh, I've been invited to do a Get Set Go set. Now this is a point in time right after our first record had come out. It totally failed. My bandmate Pat had left to be with his wife, who he got pregnant, and Amy was now drumming with the Jolly Rots, and I had no band. So, and Cooper was like, hey, Mike, does Get Set Go want to open up the show? And I was like, yeah, do you mind if I just put together, I don't have a band right now, can I put together a band for you? And she's like, yeah, that'd be great. And I'm like, I kind of want to do an alternative like arrangement. So I want to have some horns and whatever. And she's like, yeah, like, cause I knew that Kevin was my roommate, and Kevin was like, yeah, Emily and I will play horns. I'm like, that's great. So I thought I'd just get a bunch of my friends together and we would just play my songs. We'd have a good time. So John Rustad, my roommate, was also a guitar player, and John was playing guitar. And I was like, John, like, come join the band. And John was like, hey, we need to bring in Eric Summer. And I was like, oh, I know. I'm like, he's like, he plays viola. And I'm like, I know. I love Eric. Like, that's amazing. Okay, sure. Here you go. And so I reached out to Eric, and I gave him my shitty acoustic demos. And Eric showed up, and literally the first song that we played, the very first song he ever played with us was my song "Ordinary World." And the song the version, if you listen to Ordinary World, the actual song itself on the album, what he played for the very first time when I heard him accompanying that song is the exact part that it shows up on the actual album. And I was like, I was mind boggled. It was fucking amazing. And it was really funny because we started playing, and John was not, because John was going to come in after the second verse. So we're playing, and I hear, and Eric's just, we're all just playing acoustically in the living room of our house. And I look over at John, and Eric starts playing. I look over at John, I'm like, oh my God, John's like, and John just goes, yeah, I know. I was like, oh my God, it's so cool. And that was like, I was like, yeah, of course, this person I should always make music with this person. That
is very flattering. And really what it depended on was, one of the things that I learned from being in music school at the time was I wasn't one of those guys who can just show up and wing it. So I learned to prepare in advance for everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And which is really funny, because I would say to Eric, over the course of our like many years, like it was between 2006 and like 2014, so it was 8 years, and there was probably maybe 70 songs.
At least.
Yeah. There was a fuck ton of music, and so I would say to Eric, hey man, can you come up with something for this? And he'd be like, yeah, let me see what I can do. And I'd be like, we're gonna record tomorrow. And he'd be like, okay, let me see. Like, and then he'd show up, and he'd be like, okay. And I'd be like, how many parts do you need? And Eric would be like, all right, I'll need like 11 tracks. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, I'm gonna do this one part, and it's gonna be double. It's left and right channel, and I'm gonna do a harmony for this thing, and it would be like, yeah, it would be like a full fucking string arrangement, and it was like every single time, and I was like, oh, this is amazing, and it's heartbreaking, because when we first started working together back in the middle of the aughts, I didn't know, because for me, which is crazy, and I don't want to spend a lot of time because I want to progress very quickly to talking about the music you're making now. But like, I do want to get this on the record. So,
Yeah.
thinking, the thing about the viola, or the thing about any strings, is once you introduce strings in a song, if you pull them out, the song feels naked.
And here's the thing too.
Yeah.
Just to open a tab that we can very quickly close as
Yeah.
I get some more wine, is a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now. I very specifically don't do it that way because I want to prove you wrong about this.
No, hold on. No, you're right, because you're totally right. Because the thing is that like it took me a while to realize, like, no, that was just my ears, and it was just because that was my misapprehension of the way music worked, which is really funny because it was entirely built on Nate and Sean and Schmed and Soup and I, and the way the songs that we loved, it would start small, and you'd add layers, and you'd add more layers, and it was just Jeff Lynne. It was
Right.
100% Jeff Lynne, and then once you threw in the kitchen sink, you just kept with the kitchen sink all the way to the end of the song,
Right.
And so for me, because because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and that was the marching orders of songwriting friends that I appreciated. They were like, well, that's what you do. So it took me until Fury of Your Lonely Heart era, where I was like, okay, Eric, I'm sorry. So what Eric would do, Eric would write these fucking absolutely mind-boggling, like multi-part things for our songs, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I've cut it down to like 20 seconds in this song, So he would do this full string arrangement for the entire song, and I'd be like, oh yeah, it happens in this 20, 30 seconds. So once I realized, I was like, oh fuck, I've been doing Eric a disservice. I have been disrespecting all the work he's spent on my music all this time. I was like, okay, the guardrails are off for from Fury of Your Lonely Heart on. I was like, okay, you do what you do, and you record, and I'll record it all, and then what I'll do is I will listen to it with your parts in, and then I'll listen to your parts without, and if I miss them, then I'll keep your parts in. And there was not a single moment where I didn't keep your parts in. Like I was like, oh yeah, of course. Sometimes I'd be like, what is going on? What are my ears hearing? Because that's the amazing thing is like Eric's musical like well pool that he's drawing from is so vast that he'll be like, oh yeah, I decided to like steal this thing from Shostakovich here, and this one thing from Guided by Voices here, and this one thing, I'm like, wait, what? And so
it's like in actuality, what it is my my well of musical knowledge is not terribly deep, but it is really wide. Because I grew up listening to a lot of classical music, and then also some rock and roll. From like my dad had a pretty decent record collection, so it was basically a lot of classical stuff and a fair amount of pop music, which spectrum I widened slightly throughout the years, but it still probably isn't as wide as, for instance, yours or Southwell's or Mike Schnee's or
Hey, Violenda. Yeah, no, I mean, but it's really funny because you definitely drilled into, you definitely have this you have this thing where you will hear a sound that is like sort of a quintessential aspect of a particular band, whether it be strings or not. The thing is, it's like because often of course I always turn to you as the like the strings authority. So I'd be like, all right, we like. But the thing is but as I began to understand, as you and I became closer friends, and as I got a better sense of like what you were doing musically, like the thing is like it was nice to like be like, oh, it was just fun for me to be like, oh yeah, I was listening to this song and I wanted to write a song kind of like this, and this is what I did. And you're like, and you would hear that and you'd be like, oh, I hear what you're doing, you're going for, and then you would add something that would bring it closer to what I was after, because my own compositional powers were very even up until 2000. 14 when I moved to Austin were still pretty rudimentary. I mean, they're still rudimentary. Like they're still, even to this day, pretty rudimentary. But I do think...
Ain't nobody knows how to write a Get Set Go song as well as you do, though.
Yeah,
so.
no, that is true. I hope not. Well, I mean, you might, maybe you and Pat might be able to compete with me
Maybe
in that
one of these
regard.
days I'll do a Get Set Go album. An official, like a black market Get Set Go album.
Yeah.
Like how Pete Best did that record called Best of the Beatles or whatever.
Wait, what? Did he really?
Didn't he? Or it might have been a book. I only remember the title.
Oh,
I like to imagine though that he would
yeah. The Best of the Beatles. It's just all original compositions by him.
Yeah.
But all right, so okay, so obviously Eric and I have a long history. He and I put out I think it was like about so it was Ordinary World, Selling Out and Going Home, Sunshine, Joy and Happiness, Fury of Your Lonely Heart, Wicked Hands, Loose Tongues, Tumors, Television in Summer. Television in Summer is named for you and I. So I'm Mike TV, Mike Television. You're Eric Summer, or you were known as Eric Summer at that point in time. Which, all right. So tell the Eric Summer story. Like how did Eric Summer come about?
Okay, so the our mutual friend Simon, the British guy we were talking about earlier, when we knew each other through this karaoke bar called Amagi's that sadly is no longer there, but it's where I met a lot of people in the scene. So when we first started hanging out, and he asked me if I wanted to collaborate on, like adding some viola to his songs, which, by the way, at that point I did not know how to do. So I had a different phone number for the summer because I was going to USC and I had to move out of the like student housing, the grad student housing or whatever. So I had a different number for that summer. So our friend Paul, our mutual friend Paul
Hart?
Paul Hart.
That's awesome.
Who I've known about as long as I've known anybody now.
Yeah.
We met like serving in restaurants back when I lived in Kentucky for those couple of got off.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wait, no, you guys met in Kentucky and then you also met and you reconvened in LA?
Yeah, in fact, I'm the reason he moved out here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't live in LA anymore.
I know. He and I just reconnected. I'm gonna get him on this stream as well because he's now in Atlanta with his new wife, who's also like an expatriate of another country, and she's like 6 months ahead of Isabella. So we've been talking about what Isabella can expect, as she's like,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys get to commiserate about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul had me in his phone as Eric (Summer).
So Paul is literally the guy responsible for the Eric Summer name. That's so awesome. I didn't realize it was Paul. I know the story, but I didn't realize it was Paul. That's so cool.
Yeah. So when Simon got my number from Paul, he assumed that Summer was my last name. And it was at a point where I was like, because I've never really liked my last name. It's confusing. It's pronounced Lee, but there's a million ways you could potentially say it, and it's like nobody knows how to say it. And it, like there were a lot of Princess Leia jokes when I was in high school and middle school. So I thought that I could maybe do without that last name for a while and just kind of let it. And so when Simon printed up the flyer for our first show, it was he listed me as Eric Summer, and I was like,
okay,
all right, I guess I'm Eric Summer for these purposes right now. So that just kind of stuck until I had my sort of, in fact, my existential crisis and decided to drop it.
Which is crazy because I don't think I knew your name was Eric Lee until like 2000. Like 10, 2000, there was there was like just like I just knew you as Eric Summer. I had you in my phone as Eric Summer. You were Eric Summer, and I was like, oh yeah,
But there was no real reason for anybody to know any different. And, as mentioned, I'm not like the most forthcoming guy about really anything.
No, that is true, and you are very willing to just be like, oh yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, like I will allow everybody to believe this one thing that's 100% not true about me.
Who am I to correct them?
Yeah. But I do have to say, for those of you that are watching right now, all of this is 100% true. 100.
Everything said from this point on.
Yeah, from here on out, everything before this, it's questionable, but
You
everything
never
from
know.
this point on, yeah.
It's unverifiable, but from now on, I promise it's good.
So, yeah, okay. I do want to jump because I do want to get into your music because so let me just say Eric's music. So he's got 2 albums available right now that are wholly 100% him. Like every single note on the actual albums are his. You can find them on Bandcamp under the name Eric Lee. One's called Meadowlark and the other one is called Lookout Octosquid. Here, no. Lookout.
Look at Octosquid. Here comes Crocagator. Parentheses. Pointless Cryptids, Volume 1.
Wait, say that again. Say that 10 times fast.
Oh, sorry. Close parentheses.
And they're both of them are amazing, and it's really funny because both of them. And then you're working on the 3rd collection right now, right? And because you've definitely.
It's almost done. It's maybe weeks away from being done.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've and with that one just. Because of pure boredom and I wanted to switch up the way I did it, I would release each individual song for like a week after I finished it and then took it down.
So talk about that. So because I do think it's really funny. I do think and in fact this is I think from my perspective the crux of like why I want to have these conversations because from like of course everybody knows about making music and doing the music thing. I mean of course they don't but they go, oh, he writes the songs, he makes songs, but from my perspective the thing that's the most crucial thing for me is the emotional impact of being like, oh yeah, I made this beautiful thing that I love this song. How do I offer it to the world? And then what do I do? How do I behave once I go, here you go, world? I think is like, and I think that's the most crucial thing, right? Because the thing is like, because that's really what defines, I think, what separates most musicians is like, do you go, here I got a thing and it's amazing, or do you go, here you go and I'm yoink, like and everything in between?
Well, yeah, and the way you framed it is very you. The way that I think about it is that I made this little thing that is very personal and special to me, that is very fragile, and now I get to put it out where any asshole can just poke at it.
Yes. No, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and of course, and I think every single one of us feels that. Like every single one of us goes through that. But the thing is like so for me, I'm like, oh yeah. If you shit on this, you're just proving that you're a fucking idiot. Because like, the more you shit on this, the more you prove you. I can invert, like for whatever reason, I'm able to invert that thought process, but not really, because anytime anybody says anything that even seems somewhat like cogent and somewhat thoughtful about what I do that's also negative, I just take I'm like, oh, it's an arrow straight to the heart, and I just keep driving it deeper. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and there's no getting away from that. So
yeah.
Like no matter what you do, and that's just something that I've learned to accept. But the thing, okay, so my thought process, creativity has evolved a lot over the last, say, decade or so.
Yeah.
So where I fall on it now is, and this is basically what I had to reconcile when I decided to release that first album, Meadowlark, was the fun for me is in the making of the thing. It's in the constructing and the formulating.
Yes, of course.
The fun is way lessened in the recording process, and the fun is basically zero at the releasing process.
No, hold on. So that's because so in the arranging process, in the writing of the parts process, it's still fun for you, but in the actual recording process, that's when it loses it. So you love coming up with all of the ideas that are gonna be recorded, but the moment you hit record, it stops being fun. It starts becoming grueling.
Because that's when I can start messing things up, and when it can start really not living up to the idea of it in my brain.
See, and that's the difference between, I think, you and I is, so for me, for me because it doesn't exist in my head in a way that I understand it until it's recorded. The thing is, I know you can look at the notes. I know that you know enough about music, and you can look at the way the relationship between the notes and intellectualize the sound in a way where you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I can't do that. I can think that. I can be like, oh, this might work, but I don't know until like. So for me, the recording process is like where I get the proof. I'm like, I'm doing my theorem. Here's the theorem, and then when the recording happens, I'm like, yes, it proved true or it didn't, but I don't have to show it to anybody until I find something that does prove true. But like, that's crazy. That's really interesting to me because for you, once it starts getting put on tape, that's when things go awry.
It can start becoming less, I don't want to say perfect, but more imperfect, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think I will attribute some of this fact to the fact that I play an instrument that doesn't have frets, first of all.
Yeah.
Like you can play a guitar and you can be in tune the entire time.
Yeah.
I can, like, it's almost impossible unless you're unless you're better than I, like by quite a wide margin, to be able to, for instance, like I do, write something and then play it perfectly in one take, or at least perfectly, not perfectly, acceptably in one take. Like I can accept a certain degree of.
No, hold on. Let me just qualify for everybody that's watching right now that is not an actual musician. So Eric will hear things. So I would record Eric, and he would play, and he's like, I need to get, I want to double this, and I want to double this, and I want to do it in both channels, so it's going to be 4 passes, and I'm like, okay, that's great, and he'll do 4 takes, and they all sound completely identical, and he's like, no, I need to redo them all, like they weren't, and I'm like, because he's hearing something he's hearing something as someone that's written these things and knows what he wants to do, whether it's an attack thing or whether it's a voicing thing, whatever it is, like he knows what he wants to get out of it. But for those of us that don't know his brain, we're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Like, of course it's amazing, and so yeah, so that's crazy because the thing is, so now here he is making his own music. So okay, so did you sublimate that, or did you in the making of these songs? Were you like this is exactly what I want with what I've got to work with?
I have to determine a reasonable for me set of parameters for basically everything.
Sure.
So yeah, so basically I'll like there's a bit of gray area on either side of what would be the ideal, take or
sure, or
composition or whatever. And, and once, like shit, even with Metal Arc, there are things that I would probably do over if I wanted to, but.
Well, no, so yeah, so obviously in hindsight, like, so when I put out Hesitation Cuts, I was like, yeah, it is the perfect record. I literally felt like I went through it over and over again. That there's nothing I could change. There's nothing I could add stuff, but there's nothing I could change. And then now, like every year, I go, oh, I want to. So, but at the moment when you're taking the snapshot, when you're doing that, when you're capturing it, like, do you get that? Have you ever gotten that point where you're like, this is the best I can do, so I just have to release it. This is I can't improve upon it.
That's the crux, because I learned to accept the fact that the final stage in the creative process is that I have to release it to an audience or to a hypothetical audience. I don't really have one. But having accepted that is the final stage and it's necessary, that means that what I do then is, and this is why I do it this way, at the moment of release, that timestamps it in a way that allows me to look at it in hindsight and be like, oh yeah, that's where I was at this particular point. Like I only knew how to record things this well in whatever, 2018, 2019. This is what I was able to do with the resources that I allowed myself. And then, so each one is it has a certain, if only to me, documentary significance.
I mean, no. In fact, that is, in fact, that's so great because it's funny because I know that I have yet to run across, and maybe there are a lot of other artists, or at least a lot of other musicians that are doing exactly that perspective. I've never run across them. I've never once like watched a behind the music or heard somebody talking about the way they do things where they're like, oh yeah, what I was working on, it's kind of flawed, but it's just where I was at. It was the best I could do at that point in time, and I wanted to capture like this is me then, and so that way when I'm doing my thing now, you can see the growth. Like I've never went like it's always it's got to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, like, and the thing is like and so in the pursuit of perfection, from my perspective, what a lot of people do is they supplement, like it just becomes the same. They're like, oh, we're gonna scrub off all the interesting until we're just gonna shave off all the, and then there we go, and it's just the same thing, So
right.
For me,
Well, and if what you want to listen to is a bunch of technically perfectly recorded, notes that are perfect in and of themselves, you can listen to that. You can listen to that anywhere because people churn that out all the time.
And now AIs are churning it out even better than people can. Right. So that's great. Yeah.
Well, like the thing that happens with that though is that, and this is also why I have my bizarre backwards from everybody else process, is because the way people do that isn't establishing, like an artistic argument, for instance, and then using musical tools to find out the best way to articulate that argument artistically and musically.
So, all right, so stop. So, all right, so let's talk about the argument because I think that's one thing that you and I connected on kind of early on, just because from my perspective, everything I've ever done, there always has to be some sort of like there's some intention behind why I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. Like the thing is, whether it be from a song perspective, whether it be from a collection perspective. In fact, that's why for me albums still have value, and why it breaks my heart that people have devalued the album is because, the thing is because for me, one song does not say everything I want to say in that time period, in that moment of my life. Like one song does not capture the quintessential me. So like, why are you looking for just one? Like, but that intention, that idea of like, here's an artistic argument. Here you go. I'm presenting this. Talk about that for a second, because like.
Okay, so right before the pandemic hit was when I started. It was maybe like 6 months before that I started kind of writing my first. I call them song cycles. Just because it sounds more pretentious, I suppose. And because people don't care about albums, and at least it will confuse them. But so I started kind of like getting together ideas for something that I might want to say, assuming that I wasn't anymore afraid to try and say it. And so what I wanted to say, and this became more clarified after the pandemic hit, I wanted to make a statement about isolation and loneliness, because I was stuck by myself. My wife was quarantining up at Cambria at the time, because her dad had just died. So I was just in this little tiny place by myself for a solid 6 months with nothing to do, because
you couldn't go into work because there's like. Yeah. So
there was also no work for me to do, because for those first 6 months, like I worked for a video game company. Yeah. Nobody was making video games then. Yeah. So there was nothing for me to do. So I knew I had something I wanted to say, something personal. I didn't even care if it was interesting. I just wanted to say my piece on the idea of isolation and loneliness, which is a topic that I've, held dear for years and years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that what I had to work with and what I allowed myself to work with was just everything I had in our little apartment. I had my viola, I had my acoustic guitar, I had any number of things that I could bang together to make percussive sounds. I had, and actually still have, one single microphone and way to attach it to a computer. I had GarageBand.
No, but stop. So everything that you've done subsequently, so even the newest recordings, and even look at Octa Squid. all of that stuff is everything that's been done acoustically. That's all through one microphone. It's just one mic. Yeah, that's
We have this one Audio Technica, and it's a recording setup that we got to record ourselves in preparation for taking auditions.
Yeah.
Which we did, and it works really well for that. I don't know if I would select that specifically for recording albums, but
sure.
That's what I had, and at that point especially,
hold on. There's somebody is just wait. Let me just look at. Hey man, I just want to say I really enjoy your music. Ordinary World especially has been my favorite album I've ever listened to. It got me through some hard times. Love your new album, by the way. See, that's so thank you. So hold on, let's look who wrote that because so right now we're having a conversation. That is, I can't make out the. No. It's Monsieur Pig. I love that. I love that handle. But yeah, I mean, so all of the viola that you've heard on the album Ordinary World, that was actually done by Eric. So this is Eric and I as two longtime friends that have known each other for. What, like 20 years somewhere?
Probably,
about somewhere
like 17, 18 years.
Yeah. So yeah, rounding up 20 years.
Yeah, rounding up to 100 years.
No, I know we've known each other for no years at all. Yes, we've just met. We've just met. Yes.
Rounding down from 1,000.
Yeah. We've just met. This is great.
Don't even know each other.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. So anyway, so Eric and I. So this is the first time since I've been in Austin, Texas, that Eric and I have shared a screen. He and I used to stream, like when I first started live streaming back on Ustream in 2010. Eric and I, because Eric lived right across the hall from me, he and I would stream like and it was mostly trolls. It was like 6 hardcore fans and then just nothing but a cavalcade of trolls. But which is great because I was like, yeah, and I'm like, all right, I can deal because I grew up on this stage as Mr. T, so I grew up with like totally comfortable with that. Like some drunk guy walking and be like, hey man, play Freeberg. Oh, you guys, you look like Keanu Reeves. Oh, you look like John Cusack. I'm like, oh yeah, great, awesome.
And the better thing too about like Ustream at that point was like they can't even try and punch you.
Yeah, no.
What do you fucking have to threaten me with? You're useless.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah. You can't throw anything. Yeah, bring it on. Yeah,
you're a semicolon to Kurt Vonnegut. You're nothing. You signify nothing.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's do this. So the very first song of your new so Eric. So now obviously Eric's been in a lot of bands. He's made a lot of music, and for my estimation, the thing is like he has taught me more. I have like 2 or 3 people that have had an enormous influence on the music I've made. And one of them is my buddy.
You're one of mine, certainly as well.
That's nonsense because that's
true. It's true.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
But no, be in that close of proximity with somebody doing artistic stuff for that long without.
I guess that makes sense. But so one is my buddy Schmed. One is Eric Summer. Now Eric Lee, but now the big reveal is his name is actually Eric Lee. So and then there was another one, but I lost his name. But anyway,
Mozart.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mozart. Yeah. No. And no. But really, truthfully, like the thing is like so Eric. I mean, first off, he at some point it was really funny in like 2010. When I returned to Los Angeles, Eric's like, Mike, let me explain to you that in keys there are chords that work inside an actual key, and I was dumbfounded. I was like, wait, what? Like oh, if I'm starting with, if my tonic is the E chord, there are keys that work inside that. No, my brain was blown away, and then since then it's been like easy mode. Like writing songs is just like, I'm like, this is great. You know?
We call that diatonic harmony, and that is like and since my harmonic knowledge has evolved a lot because I studied composition by myself for like 5 years before I even felt qualified to write anything on my own, but it's just what I had to do to convince my own brain that I was worthy of self-expression.
And okay, all right, hold on. We must talk about that. We must talk about that. All right. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna run downstairs. I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'm gonna grab another drink. So the first song that you ever wrote when you started going, I'm gonna do this on my own. Was that Goddammit, Harriet?
I believe the first one that I actually conceived of and wrote, and let me
Was it Pep Talk?
It was Pep Talk.
Pep Talk. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna put Pep Talk on. I'm gonna put you. You can. How do we do this?
I'm gonna get another drink too if you want.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Then we're gonna put the song on, and then you guys enjoy. We'll be right back. Here we go. Pep Talk. This is it. I love this song.
Thanks.
Don't feel any better. Don't feel any worse. You don't feel it's a blessing. You don't feel it's a curse. You don't feel like a peasant. You don't feel like a king. You don't feel life is pleasant. You don't feel anything. Welcome to the green room of existence. This is the time of least resistance. There's no windmills that need tilting, no trips that need your guilting, no need for looking forward or back too far. Your only job here is to learn to be exactly where you are. The crystalline resentment of everything you're not, that terrible contentment with all the things you've got, the numbing opposition of these things in your brain provides the right condition for opening a vein. Welcome to the green room of existence. This is the time of least resistance. There's no windmills that need tilting, no trips that need your guilting, no need for looking forward or back too far. Your only job here is to learn to be exactly where you are. It's not so grim, just put aside your disconnection. What if on a whim you went and tried some introspection? Could be that limbo is a stride in the right direction. You may not be in last place, but there's still no glimpse of first. You may not be the best of us, but you're damn sure not the worst. Welcome to the green room of existence. This is the time of least resistance. There's no windmills that need tilting, no trips that need your guilting, no need for looking forward or back too far. Your up here is to learn to be exactly where you are. You might not ever get there. You might be here for good.
God, man, it's you know, it's so funny. Like it's so crazy. I think that like oh wait, no, hold on, wait, hold on. Shoot. Sorry. I love that song as well. It's funny. I think that like, you know, like there is a whole. I mean, of course, I don't know. I don't have a close angle on other pockets of and I use this word very very trepidatiously, but failing artists that still keep on keeping on because the art is essential to them surviving, despite the fact that people go, whatever, fuck, you're right, you know. And the thing is like, and from my perspective, I think that I think that like, you know, like I'm beginning to feel like, fuck, man, like maybe what I have to do is just pass, you know. Maybe I have to just die and people go, oh, that's so sad that Mike just died, let's see what he was up to, and then they go, oh my god. You know, see, right, Splintless? Like that's what I'm saying. The thing is like Eric's. I guarantee you, if you search Eric Lee on Bandcamp and just go through his catalog and just give it just the barest shrift, like just put it on while you're doing the dishes or something. I promise you will find 3 or 4 or 5 tunes that will rock your world. You'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then if you give it a little bit more shrift, you'll be like, oh shit, all of these songs are awesome. And then you'll eventually realize, oh shit, there's a lot of fucking thought behind all of these songs. They're all catchy. All of them have some powerful message behind them. And they're also like that's the one thing that really ticks me off about music of today, of the most popular music of today. Is there's no fucking challenge in it at all. Like this, like oh yeah, there's nothing to challenge my ears. Lyrically, there's nothing to challenge my ears. Musically, there's nothing to challenge. What happened to all the fucking challenge, man? Like,
well, challenge doesn't sell. I mean, that's what it is. Or challenge sells less. You can focus group it and whatever, and the challenging thing will be less interesting to the most number of people.
Yeah, no,
but I mean, like this is a thing that I've completely had to retool my philosophy on too. Is I've had to completely divorce. This is very difficult for somebody who went to music school, by the way. Completely divorce my sense of self-worth from anything that happens with music that I do.
That is something that to this day it's really funny. I'm because I know I spent my whole music career focusing on writing songs that were going to turn the audience on. I grew up in front of an audience, you know, because I had Mr. T's. Like I grew up in front. Like I'm really good at writing songs I know can at least catch people's attention. Like I know I can write a lyric. I can be like, I'm gonna fuck your mom up the asshole, and people go, what is he saying? You know, and I'm like, all right, if that's the lyric that catches people, I can do that. Like I can turn and then I can make it mean something. But even so, it's still it still might not matter. Like it still might just be a passing ephemeral like attaboy as people walk by. As people are like, I'm walking on to like go pay attention to fucking wet leg fucking wetting my leg, you know, like, oh great, awesome, you know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, ultimately, it has to only matter to you at its core.
No, you're right.
Like, because, and this took me way too long to figure out. Because especially in something like music, you don't have. Music school gives you this a little bit, but you don't have a set of milestones that really means you're getting anywhere.
Yeah.
In music school, after I was out of, after I got my master's. Basically, the milestones they tell you about are you can audition for a symphony, you can do studio gigs, you can teach, you can like play weddings, and
or you can be independently wealthy, or you can have parents that are billionaires. You're like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. But what it means is though, like you've got these completely arbitrary markers of how you're doing after you're out of music school that really don't mean anything. Like I know people that play in studios a lot, and like my wife does it some still even. That it feels like progress, but it's not. Like the prestigious gigs are the ones that pay a lot of money and are attached to a lot of fancy people, but it doesn't really mean anything except to give you a lowered sense of self-worth when you don't get those.
And which is really funny, because it is that reverse curve, right? So it is so all of your big successes eventually become the metric by which you diminish your self-worth. In fact that's why right now I can't tell you how many people are watching my Twitch stream, because I realized I was like, okay, Twitch does do good things for me. What is it? And I was like, oh, you know what it is? I get to play in front of people that show up that want to hear my music. That's awesome. And I get to play for a long, long time. And I get to have conversations like this, and I get to do it in front of an audience, and that's awesome. But when I was doing it, when I was metrics based, and when I was doing it for money, and when I was doing it to grow my Twitch channel, if I didn't have a big audience, if I wasn't pulling in good money, that was a terrible show.
It feels like failure, even though it's objectively meaningless.
Because if there's 5 people watching, then fucking that's amazing, man. Like 5 people have decided to take time out of their busy life, out of like all of you watching right now, those of you that are watching right now, like here you are, we are all of us sharing this experience. Like this is our life. These moments are precious to us, and we're all just sharing them here right now. That's amazing. I just lost. I for some reason I just lost. I missed the value in that. I was like, well, I don't have I had 45 people yesterday, and I have 39 people today. It's a terrible show. I was like, no, that's fucking horseshit.
Wait, am I 12 people less of a good musician today?
That's exactly
what I had to land on. And have you seen that George Carlin documentary that Judd Apatow made?
No.
It's fucking great. I love it so much. But there was a show that he did sort of in the last maybe 5 years of his life or something, where he comes out on stage and he talks about how I don't have to do this anymore. I do this because I like doing this, which means I'm here for me and you're here for me. Ain't nobody here for you, which which is exactly how I have to conceptualize the concept of audience. Nobody's here for you. We're all here for me right at this moment. That's why we're here.
Which is really funny. That's it's really crazy that I have to check this out because I'm just now because Isabella has been in charge of my social media platforms for a couple years now. Hey, the Rob Z. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for liking the stream, brother. So,
just saw Rob a couple of days ago.
Really? God damn it, man. I missed that guy, and I also owe you $50, Rob, and I'm sorry about that. I commissioned some art from him, and I didn't pay him. It took me I was very, very broke. But anyway,
we've got like 3 or 4 Rob Z art pieces in our place right now.
Oh really? Yeah, that's of course. Yeah. I mean, because why? No, because they're fucking genius, and he's
they're great.
He's a genius, So But yeah, so like from my perspective, it's really crazy because the thing is like it's just taken me a long time to realize but now I think I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with the idea like if you let the audience lead, the audience who like no one knows what the fuck they want. I don't know when I'm an audience, I don't know what the fuck I want. Like I don't show up at a Jim Gaffigan thing and I don't go, I hope he does more Hot Pockets bullshit. The thing is like, really? No, I've already seen I just want to see what he drives like so things like so it's not about letting the audience do their thing. It's about me being like, hey, this is where I want to take you guys. Here's a story, here's an adventure, this is what I want to do, and if it works, awesome, and if it doesn't, well then show up for the next one. And the thing is like, and it's taken me a long time to be like, oh yeah, no, that's okay. It's okay that I'm not going to sell everybody all the time. I'm just going to do my thing, I'm going to do the things to the best of my ability and make the sounds that matter to me. And then just let it be what it is. And there's Rob. Hey, brother.
Yeah, which is not to say that an audience isn't important. That's not the point of it. It's that you can't consider that first, which is why which is why focus groups always end up being such bullshit. It's like no, you have a thing. First, you have to have a thing to say.
Yeah.
Then you have to figure out how to say it.
Is everybody involved? Because that's the thing is you otherwise you don't run across revolutionary ideas, right? Like because when there is an idea that's so far left of field that people can't even understand it, like that was for me. Like I've told the story a lot in the stream, but like Pavement, like the first time I heard Pavement's album, I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? But it eventually, a year later, it became my favorite record, But it just took it took me a long time to twist my head to be like, oh, I'm hearing what they're doing, And the thing is like that's so if you want to be innovative and if you want to do cool and crazy and awesome shit, the thing is like you don't look to everybody else for what they're doing. You just do the thing that turns you on and just hope that and if it doesn't resonate, if you're not Steven Spielberg, that's okay. Maybe you're David Lynch, and that's not bad.
It might even be as simple an impetus as if you don't want to drive yourself fucking nuts.
Yes.
Like aside from any creative output, if you don't want to like drive yourself completely insane, wondering about what the response to something is going to be. Yeah. Like which
is what I do every single time I release anything, and I literally do every single time I put out anything, which is now right now I'm putting out. I'm putting out a new podcast episode every 2 to 3 weeks, and every single time I go, oh, you know what? I'll just kill myself, and then it will have value. And then people are like, oh shit, I missed. Like I'm like, no, that's not a fucking healthy perspective to have, Mike. Fuck that noise.
No. Well, and like. There were two factors that enabled me to actually write my own stuff. One factor is that I finally studied enough composition to convince my own dumb brain that I was worth doing it. Yeah. The second thing is my dad died, and after that, and he died in like not to get too personal, but this is an important part of it. Like he died under really horrific circumstances that I had to be party to.
He was eaten by ghouls, wasn't he?
He was eaten by ghouls.
That's my dad as well. I feel
There's a line in one of my songs about having your eyes eaten by a cat, and there's a real good reason that line is in there.
Oh, Jesus!
I will just say that.
Because you know why? Because cats have no fucking loyalty. Dogs will not eat a human body, but cats are like, oh, it's what's on the menu tonight? Oh, it's dead.
They will though.
Dead master.
They will. Dogs eventually will.
Oh, no, of course, if they're not getting fed, yes, eventually if they're not getting fed and the meat's, but that's.
I changed it to cats because the song was about a cat, but dogs will.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh.
But here's the thing, like, the fact that I went through that, like, probably the worst experience I've ever had in all of my 47 years, I went through it and survived it, which at least at the moment meant I don't need to be afraid of things anymore. Like I was afraid of this thing that happened. It was so much worse than I imagined it would be, and I'm still here. So anything else is not going to fucking scare me.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. I don't care what it is. Like nothing else is going to be that bad, until the next thing that is. But
And that is, it's funny, and that is awesome because I do, which is so crazy, man. Like it breaks my heart because the thing is like, because all right, how do I say this? So it breaks my heart because you've always had, even back in the day, even before you were writing songs in earnest, you were still writing songs, and you'd be like, hey, I wrote this little song, and it was this fucking classical, amazing pop gem, and I'm like, that's an amazing song. You're like, yeah, whatever, I'm just not gonna do anything with it, and that happened over and over and over again. And I was like, fuck, dude.
12. I think I wrote 12 songs, and I consider that my opus -1 that nobody will ever get to hear. That's my juvenilia that I sort of like don't.
They were so catchy, and the thing is, it's like, and they were, and it was funny because they were all about your life. Like they were all like things. I was like, oh, you're like, oh yeah, I wrote this about this, and I was like, oh my, it's perfectly pointedly about like they were just quintessential essences of this experience. So I was like, yes, that's amazing. And then I was like, oh, and then no, you're not, no, and nothing's gonna happen with it. Of course, yeah.
No. And like honestly, especially at that point, nothing needed to happen with it. I was just happy, especially then, that I was, like able to force myself to do it at all. And that's. And that's so, it's so crazy because the thing is, because I saw it like for me, like I wish that, because I do remember you playing either recordings for me or occasionally just playing on, was it a vinyl string guitar in your apartment across like? Oh, I think at that point I don't think I had my acoustic yet, because Kate got that for me.
Oh.
The Christmas after I had my existential crisis in 2013, I think. So I would have had like a little Epiphone Les Paul.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That Emma had gotten me for something.
But I just remember. Oh yeah, you're right. That's weird. That's weird how my brain conflates like various experiences, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the experience that happened every single time. But I had an electric guitar with nothing to plug it into but this little recording device. Yeah, no, and I do remember that. And you did play. Maybe, but maybe you didn't play it live. Maybe you just played the recordings for me.
Yeah. I never played any of that live.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Or will I with my current stuff? Because I fucking can't.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah,
I forget like how I tuned the guitar. I forget what each viola part is supposed to do, because they were just written for recording and for nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, which is crazy because like it's so fun. It's so funny because the things that you do involve they often involve so many moving parts. Even if it's just a couple instruments or a few instruments, there's always a lot of thought behind. Like the note relationships for every, for like, even if they're like lines, like melodic lines, they're making chords and they're creating a sonic like awesome, And the thing is like, and it's funny because I look at the way you do that, and that is, every bit of that is intentional. And for me, I do the same thing, and I just plug stuff. I go, this sounds good. No, and I just keep adding stuff and layering stuff. I'm like, all right, that sounds great,
Well, that is a thing that you can do intuitively. Like you are particularly good at it. Certain people are just really good at knowing how the rudiments of music work without really intellectually knowing them, which is not ever something that I've had, but it's really like the truth is that like,
but do you
really
not
really
feel that?
Yeah, I mean, I think me less than most people. I needed a whole.
But it's all right. Okay, hold on. So now we must drill into this because it's so crazy. Because the thing is that the things that really rock your world about music, and I know you and I have both talked about like, well, here's a song that we love. And we'll be like, oh my God, this is the part, this is the moment, So from me, like when I'm like that moment where you're like, yes, this is the best moment of the song. Like that's all I live for. So that's all. I just try to create that. I try to recreate that moment in every moment of the song. So,
you're right.
That's
yeah.
all I'm after. And
that's true. And that isn't like the thing with me is I don't I don't inherently trust it. My response to it.
Yes, no, yeah, of course.
Because like I grew up
yeah.
super insecure and also academic. So
Yeah,
if I couldn't find an intellectual basis for it, then I didn't trust it. So
yeah. I don't have to worry about that at all. I'm like, yeah, this. Oh yeah, it's G over B over F. That sounds perfect. Yeah, it's this crazy weird thing that sounds great. Yeah, I've been.
That's a thing that I've always envied about you and a lot of people that I know who are sort of like you is that confidence to just to know that and replicate that about yourself. I've never really had that. I've always needed either books or people to tell me that it was okay for me to do a thing.
That's which is so funny. Yeah, for me, it's really funny because for me, like noise is just as important as sonorous. Like I love the beautiful chords. I love the sonorous chord changes. I love the discordant, and I love the crazy, weird, not expected changes. But I also think noise is like also equally. So occasionally when I'm like no. Blanc, that's an important thing. Like just to be like, I'm just gonna pan like it's really funny. Like in fact, that's on Do Over. No, not Do Over. The Old Ennui. Like that. Was when Schmidt was playing that blistering piano solo. I was like, just slam it. And he just like at the very end of that solo, he just slammed the thing. It was like, whoa. And I was like, yes, that's perfect because sometimes you just want to be like, oh, there is no control. There is no one in charge. It's just chaos. Suck it, bitch,
Well, that's the thing, too, is like, that's a tool like everything else. You just have to know what your tools are. And this is the thing that I learned reading and translating Hindemith, who's a very important composer.
No. Hold on. Let us talk about that real quick because just for posterity, I know there's like there's just the intimate group of us, but so there was Hindemann. Is that
Hindemith? It's weird. It's a weird name even by German standards.
Okay.
Hindemith. Hindemith. He's a very important composer for violists because he was a violist himself, and he wrote a lot of like solo music for viola and a couple of pieces for viola and orchestra. And so
he wrote one like quintessential composition book that is available the world round, translated in multiple languages. Yes, and so
he has 4 volumes of it. Really,
he wrote 4 volumes, but the first one is one that's widely available, right?
Yeah, two of them are actually, and he wrote a couple of other ones that are pretty widely available. His third book on harmony was never translated into English, and it was published posthumously.
That was a big one. That was a big one for you because it's dealing with harmony. So yeah.
It's his book on 3-part writing. He had one book on just like a general book on his philosophy of harmony, which is fucking amazing and modular, and it's so great. He has one book on 2-part writing, which I was really interested in initially because I was like, if I could write in 2 parts, then I can write stuff for Kate and me to play. I can write stuff for 2 violas. And then his third book was on 3-part writing.
And that one, it was in German. No translations.
Yeah.
And so what did you do? So there's no translations. You're like, all right, this is great.
So by the end of the second book, the last paragraph of that book says something like if you were enjoying 2-part writing, just wait till you see the options that are opened up with 3-part writing. And I was like, well, that's
awesome. How do let me hook up that book.
So I located a copy of it, a used copy. It's been out of print for decades. It's really hard to find. It was like $80 or something from a German bookstore.
Uh-huh.
But so I translated it.
Is that a Scooter in the background?
No, it's Misha. Scooter sadly is no longer with us.
Oh, you're right. That's Misha. Yeah, Misha's still around. Oh.
Yeah, Misha has his toy, which means he's really chatty right now.
Oh.
Yeah, he's meowing his little fuzzy butt off like he does. So yeah, so
you're like you're like, okay, there's a third book. This is exciting, and
Yeah.
then there's one there. You can find the book, but it's like $80 to buy it, and it's also in German.
yeah, which thankfully I have spoken since high school. I took 4 years. My mom's half the family is German, so I sort of like grew up sort of around it. I took it in college a little bit, but the thing was, through reading his other books, I knew what his terminology was, his musical terminology. So I was like, I can probably figure this out, I think, even though I hadn't spoken German in a real long time. So I translated it, and his view on harmony.
No, hold on real quick. So then we just missed the. So you translated
right.
it. So you're like,
I might have buried the lead.
So I
buried the lead slang.
So I translated it. So you actually went in and like line for line.
Yeah, it took me like a year.
Yeah, but yeah. So okay, so now, so having spoken German at least in high school for 4 years, like you're not a stranger to German, but
Right.
but there are still like 25 letter words in German, right?
Dude, let me tell you, they say Proust wrote some of the longest sentences in existence in the history of literature.
Yeah.
Which, having read a little bit of Proust, is fucking true.
Yeah.
But a close second is probably the German composer Paul Hindemith,
Yes.
because some of his sentences and you know how in German, like, it's structured so the verb usually comes at the end. So you have to read the whole sentence, and by the end of this paragraph-long thing, it's like, wait, where did we start? This is about what again? He'd have like 3 or 4 little nested clauses.
Object, digression, object, another digression, object, and then this is what we're actually doing with all these objects and these digressions. That's awesome.
there were so many. It's not a short book. It's like it's. I can't remember what the word count on it is, but like it's like 85,000 words probably. And for so much of it, I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about now?
No, okay. So did you translate this in a way that you can hand off to the rest of the world?
I could potentially. I haven't because there's a German publishing company that owns the rights to all this stuff. They're not interested in publishing it in English, so I was just like, yeah,
they're like, you know what? English people don't deserve to understand Hindemith's understanding of viola, like viola 3-part writing. Like,
and again, once again, it's like, well, so this is for me. So
you're like, okay. All right, well, yeah, well, but you know what? You could just
go fuck yourselves, posterity.
You can make it open source, man. Just make it available for free and be like, hey, here you go. Here's the translation.
I probably could. The thing that, and again, we're back to stuff that makes it not fun, which means I don't do it. Is there's a ton of musical examples that were like handwritten in the book, and I'd have to transcribe those and put them into Sibelius and put them into the actual text.
Wait, so are you using Sibelius now and not Finale?
I just recently I've my trial Sibelius thing is down to like 8 days left, but I actually really prefer it so far.
No. So so if you want, I'm Patreon buddies with some people that are like that one guy worked for Disney, the other guy worked for like the composer, I'm forgetting his name, but like a big composer that I should know his name because I actually met him at Universal. Like he's anyway.
It's probably Hans Zimmer.
No, it's not Zimmer. It's what's his name?
See, who's working these days?
No, he's dead. He's dead now. He's dead.
Oh, you're talking about Basil Polidorus.
No. Which is crazy because Basil's nephew Chris Polidorus was a close friend. He was a roommate and close friend of mine. And
yeah, so that's why I thought you were talking about him. But
it's another guy. He's now dead. And anyway, but so I've got two guys, and one guy's a Sibelius like expert, and the other guy's a finale expert. So I'm like, oh, this is great. If ever I get into like notation issues, like I know the guys to turn to. So if you need help,
yeah, it's one of those things.
I got guys you can turn to. Yeah,
it's one of those things like with Logic, which is what I record all my stuff on. It's like there are so many options that I like. You can. Like, it's daunting the amount of stuff you can do with one of those programs.
Yeah.
And I use them so infrequently. I basically use each program once per song I write, which means I'll use a thing for a few hours every 3 months, which means I don't get better at the program. But yeah, or at least I narrow down like what I need out of it and figure out how to do that pretty quickly.
But you do get better. So let's turn so I know, because we've just been monopolizing everybody's time with just conversation. Let's do another song. Like okay.
Oh,
so
sure.
We played Pep Talk, which is the first, like, so I think that the first song I heard from you was "God Damn It, Harriet, I'm Not a Mind Reader," but I do know that you gave me 2 or 3 right around the same time.
Oh, I think because I finished 3 of them. I think it was those 2 and Here Goes Nothing that I finished.
Yeah. And so they're all kind of handed me at different like, and they're all. So I don't want to. Look, man, like I've been paying attention to music for a long fucking time, and I know good music. I know fucking great music. I know music, and I know catchy, fucking cool, fucking like, and I know music that challenges you. That's also still amazing. I promise you. So, ericlee.bandcamp.com. Check out his stuff. I promise you. You will not be disappointed. Just start with the very first Here Goes Nothing. Start with Meadowlark, and then move to Look Out Octosquid. But let's go to Octosquid, and let's go. What do we want to do? So these are all awesome songs. And thank you, Lenina.
Yeah, thanks, Lenina.
What do you want to what do you think? Oh God, man, there's so many good songs.
Let's see what's it. Well, okay. So a little bit of prologue. Meadowlark is all about isolation and loneliness. Yeah. Octosquid is all about inauthenticity, because I sort of exhausted myself with Meadowlark, like laying my soul bare, or at least to the extent that I did.
Yeah.
So I was like, so for Octosquid, I was just like, let me just do some stuff that's kind of fun and kind of light and maybe doesn't mean anything. So whereas all the instruments on Meadowlark are things that I physically had around the house.
Yeah. So you used wine glasses filled with water, and you used
cat toys.
Cat toys. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Octosquid, I had just gotten Logic Pro, so I was like, okay, every instrument on this album is not going to be real. Awesome. So they're all either various kinds of keyboard patches, or it's again my acoustic guitar but processed in some way.
Yeah, awesome.
So how about how about the song for Kate?
Possibly, probably, positively Kate. Yeah, this is
let's do that one. That's my song for my wife that she actually asked for, and I gave her.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So this is possibly, probably, positively Kate.
Maybe she's floating on the breeze. She's sipping on a glass.
Such an XTC song.
Maybe she's dancing in the trees. She pirouettes across the skyline. Maybe she's a ballerina, unfolding like a concertina. You will know it if you see
okay, good.
her.
I mean, even if they can't do it.
She's absolutely Kate.
Well, whichever.
Maybe she's galloping away. 6 guns
Well,
blazing
my point stands.
into
It is an
the
XTC
sunset.
song by me.
Maybe she's lassoing the day. It's amazing, but she's not done yet. Maybe she's a cast iron cowgirl. Maybe she's the Ask Me How girl. just as true for then as now, girl. She's unquestionably Kate. There's passion in her planning, her fashion is outstanding. She's brash in how she's scanning my brain. I'm halfway through minding a carafe of wine, finding her laugh is spellbinding, unwinding like yarn from a skein. Maybe she's the queen of cats, prowling through her habitat. There is no denying that. She's definitively Kate. Maybe spreadsheets are her means of bending space-time through her screen. Maybe she's the chaos vaccine. She's categorically Kate. She's absolutely Kate. She's positively Kate. She's no one else but Kate.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, man, I love that song. Like you know, it's funny. Like one thing I do have to say, like, I love arpeggiators. Like I love for whatever reason, there's so much fun of it. Like, oh, 2 notes in the key, and then just you do your magic. You just go arpeggio. Like, it's so fun. You know, if you guys don't know about arpeggiators and you want to make music, check them out. So Rob Z said, have you heard Alice Coltrane's meteoric sensation, Universal Consciousness?
Alice Coltrane's 1971 meteoric sensation, Universal Consciousness. So let me briefly open this tab and then close it.
Okay.
This is a sort of an in-joke between Rob and me.
Okay.
I started seeing this bumper sticker around where I live in South Pasadena. I saw it once near the Norton Simon Museum. It's this bumper sticker that says, "Keep honking, I'm listening to Alice Coltrane's 1971 meteoric sensation, Universal Consciousness." And then I saw it a second time around the same area. I was like, wait, is that the same car? Is that the same car with the same? I have since seen that weird-ass bumper sticker like 3-4 times. Just like, it's been parked in front of me at least twice.
Crazy.
So Rob and I usually this last month or so we've been.
Hold on. Let us just unpack that for a second. So you're telling me that there are bumper stickers. So someone at some point in time was like, oh man, you know, Alice Coltrane's 1979 Universal Consciousness. Like, is it a song? It's not a song. It's like,
it's an album.
Okay.
It's a spiritual jazz album. Alice Coltrane is John Coltrane's widow.
What?
And a jazz, like a real impressive musician in her own right. She's harpist.
Awesome. Yeah, harpist. A jazz harpist.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So after I had seen that bumper sticker for like 2 or 3 times, like Rob and I at brunch, as we do every week now, we were talking about listening to music, and I told him about this bumper sticker, and we were like, yeah, we might have to listen to this now, just because it's so fucking strange. So we did, and we reconvened the next week and we talked about it. But it's a good album. Here's the thing, I'm not much of a jazz guy.
Yeah,
I'm sort of a jazz guy.
No, hold on, because I do want to. Because it's really funny because there have been a lot of musical experiences for me that have been really impactful that were jazz, where where I would see somebody like they're playing and it's great, and they've established the motif. Like here's the main motif of the song that's been established, so we all know this. Like they're playing a jazz standard, and here's the motif, and then I'll hear somebody like riff on that motif, and I'm like, that's fucking amazing. I've never heard that. It's like, and that's pretty magical to me, you know.
They call it the head.
What do they call it? They call what the head?
Yeah, the main tune.
Okay.
Jazz parlance. That's the head.
Okay. Yeah.
So Alice Coltrane, apparently, I had to do a little research because I wasn't sure what to make of this album when I first heard it. The first, especially 2 songs, are very, very chaotic. So she got very, very deeply into like Buddhism and Hinduism eventually, and I think she even like has her own like yoga retreat. But so it's this really chaotic jazz statement about a couple of like Buddhist and Hindu philosophical principles, I guess.
Sure.
So I've listened to it maybe 2, 3 times because the first time I was like, I don't know what to make of this at all, and I still kind of don't, but I really wanted to like figure out what she was doing because it
Yeah.
seemed very, very intentional.
No, and apparently people have made bumper stickers to say like,
Yeah.
because, and from my perspective, there's two different ways that you do this. You do this because you love it, or you do it because you're a fucking asshole and you're saying, I'm into something you'll never fucking understand, and I just want to put you in your place, you fucking person that thinks you understand music. And the
Very
thing
well
is
could
like,
be that.
yeah. And so,
But at the same time, like it's something that's so niche that I don't think I think like and if it is that, it's very cute.
Okay.
That somebody would make a bumper sticker about that and think that would give them any kind of like credibility.
okay, I mean, yeah.
But what it did do is be so strange as to make me go, oh, all right, I should probably listen to this then.
Yeah,
And
no, of course.
I did several
Yeah,
times.
that's awesome.
Which I think is
of course,
fucking great.
I do think that only musicians would see that and be like, well, no, I can't say everybody, like, but certainly musicians, they're like, I don't know who is Alice. So again, if it was Alice, Boykovsky, which my like, would you be like, oh yeah, let me read that, let me check out this album,
Or maybe even still, like the description of it as the 1971 meteoric sensation would have been enough to make me go.
Was it a meteoric sensation?
I do not know. I don't know how. Like,
all right, you have to look this up. Was it a meteoric sensation? I have to know, man.
Yeah, I know. That's the power of the bumper sticker, right? Like it's phrased in such a way that you have to know something about it.
One of the great things is that we do have literally the entire planet's repository of knowledge at our fingertips, so we can find it out right now.
Yeah.
Meteoric sensation. Oh, it's already showing up. That's so funny.
See, now it's having the same effect on you as it did on me. It's like, wait, I have to know about this.
Is it a meteoric? No, universal consciousness. It's 1971 on Impulse Records.
Mm-hmm.
It got 4.5 stars. This is the highest order conceived by a brilliant mind. It's an all music review. Fuck that noise. Like,
yeah,
really,
I know. I read that too, and I was like,
motherfuckers. Like,
I know.
Fuck you, all music. All music gave us 4.5 stars. Mm-hmm. On Selling Out and Going Home, 4.5 stars originally. Like, they were all about us, and then when they realized that not everybody is all jumping on board, they dropped us down to whatever we are right now. I think like 3 stars. But like, I remember I was like, we got 4.5 stars in all music. That's amazing. That's so great.
We got the Alice Coltrane.
No. Selling Out and Going. No. Let's. All music. Let's no here. So I think it's.
We had the Alice Coltrane.
3 stars. Yeah. So we were 4.5 stars originally. 4.5 stars. Those motherfuckers. Fuck all music.
They took our Coltrane away.
No. Fuck those bastards. Fuck. All right. I also wanted if to ask for the honking to continue. Would it would add to the experience? Yes. We just, if the honking just kept happening.
Yeah, so that's the very long digression about Alice Coltrane's 1971 meteoric sensation.
God damn, man, it's heartbreaking. It's kind of heartbreaking that that's the fuck oh God. All right, so this is a big thing. This is something I want to talk about in my. Are you aware that I have a podcast? Are you
just listened to some of it yesterday?
Oh, awesome. Okay, does it make you puke in your mouth? It does make you
only
puke
in my mouth, not out of any other words.
Okay, good.
So I think it's doing its job.
Yeah, no, I mean, so but one of the things that one of the things I really want to kind of tackle is that idea, it's so crazy how there's so much. I mean, I've talked about this a lot about the white noise, but how there's just I think that we should just go open season on musicians. Like, I think we should put on a thing and be like, hey, I'm a musician, and then we allow people to just shoot like five of us per person.
I think
just to thin out the crowd of fucking people that call themselves, because I guarantee you that most people that call themselves musicians are people that pick up the guitar like once every 6 months. And so you're like, all right, you're a musician. Oh, this is great. It's open season of musicians. Go out and, you know.
If nothing else, there should be a 1-in, 1-out policy. Anybody who releases an album, you have to take a past album away from something.
Yes. Yeah, right? That'd be great.
Yeah, I would love to be the guy in like a month or so when I release my third album that takes Abbey Road out of circulation. No, Eric released an album. Sorry, we can't have Abbey Road anymore.
Yeah. We only have so much bandwidth for so many records, guys. Sorry, like we
Abbey Road's out.
Like you only have so much.
Abbey Road's out because it's towards the top of the alphabet, and it's that's where we've gotten yet. We just start eliminating albums in alphabetical order. So people are like, my album's. I wrote a whole concept album about Zizix, Nevada.
9 Z's, a Y, 9 other Z's, and an X and a Y. And then, yes, and it does go into the Disney Vault. That's exactly right. It goes into the Disney Vault, and then it gets released way later, and then Disney just keeps fucking putting out little things to maintain the copyright.
Right. Yeah. Here's the reason that I give. I'm doing a nice reverse segue. Here's why Disney is okay with me, because Disney owns Pixar. And if there is anybody better at establishing an artistic argument and figuring out exactly the perfect way to extrapolate that argument, it is I don't know about it.
You're totally right. And in fact, it's really funny. I do feel that whether Disney did it, whether it was done by Disney intentionally, or whether they just got on board with things that were hot or big. The one thing is they have been very good at being like, hey, this is something that's working. Let us just circle the wagons and let the people that are doing this cool thing work, And yes, it's gigantic, and yes, it's big, and yes, it's tropes, and yes, but fuck, man, I fucking like tropes. I like a well articulated, well actualized trope. When there's no fucking bullshit, when it's just done well. Amen. Bring it on.
First of all, you can't avoid them. You won't. You won't ever. Yeah. If you try to avoid all cliche, you will never do anything.
No, that's and different for different sake, which can be awesome. It can be awesome. Different for different sakes can be great. But the thing is that doesn't like living for just different. Like the thing is like at some point in time you just get lost in the weeds. You just find yourself the thing is the idea of all of us having a cultural touchstone. So then when you go, I'm going to go do something different. You go, hey, this is our touchstone. Yes, here we are. This is it, and this is what I'm doing now. You're like, that's great, And so and so it is frustrating to me that Disney owns all of the things that were important in my childhood. That's very difficult for me. But however, they're also not doing a disservice to them by making them bullshit. The thing is like they're all doing pretty well. And Pixar is great. I fucking love goddamn dude. Soul.
Soul is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I know. I fucking rocked my world. I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, hell yeah.
Soul and Inside Out and Coco and what better metaphor for outsider art than a rat as a cook?
Yes, right? Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
It's fucking perfect. And they do that every single movie. It's mind blowing to me. The rest of Disney, I don't really care that much. They can do whatever they want. I won't watch it and fine.
Yeah.
But But Pixar, they
Yeah.
do like they are kind of a touchstone
No,
for.
yeah, no, yeah, I mean, yeah, I will always be excited about whatever it is they put out there. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna do a movie about passing like a gallstone. And I'm like, oh, or like you're like, okay, let's see what happens. You know, I'm certain it'll be great. You know.
Yeah, and
I,
that's the sequel to Inside Out.
yes. Yeah. So Rob asked, how do we make the U2 iTunes album go away? I deleted it too many times to count, and it keeps flying up over and over and over again. Yeah. So the thing
Rob
about
and I have
that,
talked about this. I actually kind of like that album. I think it's pretty good.
oh, is it really? Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I have not listened to it, which is funny because I don't use I do use Spotify on my Apple. Yeah, I don't use the Apple Music app on my iPhone. So yeah, I use Spotify a little bit, and mostly I just listen to my own stuff, which is great. I get to make my own I make my own songs, and I do so much. I do so much that I'm like, yeah, I don't need to listen to other people's music. Fuck other people. I mean, I like Eric's music. I like Eric's, and I like Rob Z's. So Rob Z himself, Rob Z has a band called Z Schnee, and they are actually doing a bunch of cool shit now, and they're playing live again. So if you guys are not following Z Schnee, so Rob, how do they find the Z Schnee experience? Where is that found?
I know where it's found on September 18th.
Where's that?
It's this wine shop called Spin the Bottle where Rob has had an ongoing art show
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
for a while. So yeah, Rob Z moved back to LA a couple of months ago, I want to say, and since he's had a couple of art shows at a couple of really cool like wine bars, which made me think that
MySpace.
so obviously.
MySpace, yes, of course. Who doesn't? Oh, what is this website that MySpace that you speak of? Is that a new? Huh.
It's like we have gone to a couple of Rob's shows, and like the last time that he played with Mike, so fun. But it made me think that like how we came up in rock and roll scenes that were like basically loud bands playing in dive bars, and obviously the middle-aged evolution of that is acoustic bands playing in wine bars.
Yes, of course, yeah, yeah.
It makes total sense. I'm super
Yeah.
into it. It's like it's the
I mean,
perfect.
that was effectively the Thirsty Crow. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't wine bars. It was like high end cocktails. It was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
spend
craft
$12. Yeah, we're gonna spend $12 on a craft cocktail. Yeah, and we're gonna listen to people playing acoustic instruments. Yeah.
In the middle of the afternoon before anybody's bedtime.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. You get drunk, you go home, you take a power nap, you go to dinner. That's great.
Yeah.
that's
That's the way it works now.
yeah. That's yeah. Sorry, kids. This is the future. This is the future of rock and roll. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, the kids have also pretty much en masse said that they're not interested in rock and roll anymore. So
Yeah,
fine.
which is so crazy. The thing is, all right, it's okay, So I hate going on record saying this, but like, have you listened to all the hips and the hops lately? Have you been paying?
Not really.
Yeah, so I
I've
have
listened
been.
to a couple of things because we watch SNL, and
Yeah.
like there have been a couple of people on.
Yeah.
I will say this: Lizzo is fucking great. There are a few that have popped up on SNL
of course,
where I've been like, oh, Jesus,
I'm
right.
100% certain that there are awesome songs. So usually what happens is I will hear a hip hop song, and I'll be like, oh, this is really amazing lyrics, or it's got a really interesting approach to production. Again, mostly it's just a beat and some other production elements, but it's really stripped down. It's somebody doing some zippity zap zip 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 got zip zap zip, like they just changed up the rhythm. I'm like that's cool. All right, let me check. And then I'll be like, oh, I'll listen to this. I'll go and I'll check it out and listen to the song. I'm like, oh, this is a great song. This is an awesome. Let me listen to their other stuff. And then it's just Tapioca. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. There's like 9 songs of Tapioca and one kind of breakout hit. And occasionally there are a bunch of, no, it looks like you want to say something. What are you saying?
Well, okay. That is definitely true of the big mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
You should,
Oh
if you
no,
haven't ever
tell me,
heard,
check out who. Tell me.
Open Mike Eagle is fucking great.
Who?
Open Mike Eagle.
Open Mike Eden.
Eagle.
Oh, Open Mike Eagle. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that's like,
No, great.
I know
I would love it. Yeah, because I have no. That's things. I have no ears to the ground on this at all. So.
Oh yeah, no, and I don't very much either, except the ones that are adjacent to comedy, because I listen to so many comedy podcasts.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So there are a few hip hop artists that pop up on comedy podcasts because they're sort of like they know people at UCB or whatever. And Open Mike Eagle is one of those, and he's fucking great.
Okay. Awesome.
He even did a video with he might have even done multiple videos with Paul F. Tompkins, who's a favorite of mine, and he's so fucking good and clever and quick and just like
awesome.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, and again, I don't mean to, I don't want to disparage like, but the thing is like, but if it is just this, if it's just the same, if it's just a beat, and then the same kind of for me, it just gets it gets very tiring very quickly. Like things like I'm all about like all right, what. You gotta keep my ears interested in what are you doing, and very often they don't, or very often they offer a little bit like, and I can totally get behind like doing the same kind of thing for a minute and a half. That can be awesome, but not if that's all I'm listening to, So.
No, yeah, you're right, and like obviously we're a couple of middle-aged white guys.
Yes.
About the history of hip hop, but
yeah, no, I know, no, I'm just like it's just yeah, but of course no, in fact that's a big part, like, so yes, because of course I'm growing older and it's crazy for me. I'm like really like which is I'm 100% certain this was what my parents like when I was like, oh yeah, listen, like here's the Ramones, mom and dad, what do you think of this? They're like, oh yeah, this what the fuck, like it sounds a little bit like the Beach Boys, but no, but it's also instrumentally boring. Like I'm 100% certain that that's the world I'm approaching it from, But even so,
well, I mean, like that is the thing. Like with any artistic endeavor, it's like there are limitations, and the limitations with hip hop is that you don't really get that much melody.
Yeah.
Which means that you need to be lyrically really engaging all the time. For instance,
that's the thing that's frustrating for me, because I'm like, there's no, at least for me, being in my very extremely late 40s, like so late 40s that I might as well be 50, because I am closer to 50 than I am to 49. I think. Yes, yeah, I am. Yeah.
Oh yeah, your birthday's in what, May? March?
May, yeah, May,
March.
yeah, May, yeah, May. So yeah, so no, yeah,
well,
yeah.
That's okay. And here's kind of the thing about, because we as rock and roll people, and especially indie rock people, we sort of live and die by the chorus, right?
Yeah, of course.
The chorus is where the chorus is where the mission statement comes in, and where it elevates and it heightens, and the chorus is the part that you sing along to generally. I've always found, like, and I've been listening to hip hop since I was like in high school, but the chorus is the boring part for me in a hip hop song. It's usually just one line and it's over and over, and it's like, well, get me back to the fun words that are rhyming.
Yeah. I can see it. I mean, yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I was working with a hip hop artist recently. He and I were co-writing a song, and he was talking about we used the same nomenclature, we just used it very differently. So he was like, so I was like, so this is like a little hook, like this is a little melodic hook. And he's like, oh no, the hook's like the big thing. And I was like, no, the hook, like hooks are the things that keep people interested. So there's a lot of hooks in a song. He's like, no, the hook's like the big thing. Like I was like,
one thing that you do over and over
it's just,
again.
You just do it over and over again. I was like, no, that's like really no, that's really that you just keep that going. Apparently, okay.
And if you talk to Dana Carvey or Daryl Hammond about what the hook is in their impressions, it's an entirely different thing there too.
Yeah,
it's the way you get into the it's the Mac and that. Yeah, that's the hook of George W. Bush or George H.W. Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how many things hook means in how many different art forms.
Yeah, and how they're similar enough that everybody feels like, oh yeah, no, I know what exactly what you're talking about. Then when you really dial into it, you're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not a hook
exactly.
at all. The way you talk.
Yeah, but I definitely remember, and it's completely the opposite of rock and roll. Like when I would listen to a hip hop song, I wanted to fucking fast forward the choruses and the outro because the fun part wasn't there.
Yeah. Where there are people being clever with the lyrics, and then also the cadence, like because that's the one thing I love about like good hip hop is like cool cadences, like breaking up the rhythm in a cool way,
Yeah.
where it's the doom ba da ba boom, but they digga da da da, you like and you're
Well,
breaking
and
it
if
up
you
and you're
can
like,
make the same rhyme scheme, like, but skew it over a different part of the beat, then that's super fucking cool.
Yeah.
And
And so
well, and
there definitely is artistry. I don't want to give an impression that I'm not saying that. But the thing is, like, but from my perspective, it definitely feels like, oh, just like with rock and roll, there's a lot of people that are kind of phoning it in a little bit. Hey, Retro
well,
Show,
that's
how
always
you
going
doing,
to be
man?
the case.
Yeah, I know, of course.
Like that's always like if when the money people get a hold of it, that's when
Yeah,
that's when
well,
it becomes
and
focused to death, and
yeah,
it becomes less fun.
and it's going to be easier for them to promote and purport and try to sell something that is the exact same thing as last month's big hit and the month
Yeah.
before's big hit, because it's so much easier to like just be like, oh yeah, we're really like, because they don't want to have to take risks, they don't want to gamble, so
Yeah,
you know.
no, it's like you can just sell it with the tagline of like, no, it's like this, but that.
Yep.
That's film and that's music now, and that's like that's any number of things. It's like no, you take, yeah, it's oh well, that's been the case forever too. It's fucking Jaws, but with piranhas.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
but
not to say that Piranha's a bad movie because I really like Piranha. Not the remake, but the original. That is a very fun movie.
Enjoying a week off and taking some mental time. So naturally, I'm here to check in with my therapist, AKH. Right on, hell yeah. So Retro Roadshow is another working musician.
Oh yeah, I recognize him from Restraints.
Yeah, and he's a sweetheart, and he's definitely like a guy that's been, he's an entrenched and long time musician that has been doing this for a long time, and also deals with all the same travails that anybody, that it's so fucking crazy, man. It's so, like the idea that like oh, but like all of the lexicon behind making music like automatically precludes people to dismiss what we do, like oh, but you guys, you just play music, right? You're just playing. You're just like
you know what I fucking hate? What I fucking can't stand?
What's that?
Is the rebranding of everything creative as content.
Oh no, motherfucker! I know,
because that is like, that was done by people who are trying to sell you the fucking container.
No, yes, and no, yes, and the thing is, yeah, and so what that does is that takes people like you and I, or anybody that actually makes art and bust their ass to figure out, like, and includes us with all the people that are like, hey guys, I'm gonna jog for 45 minutes. Like, look at this. I'm doing the same thing, and you're like, oh yeah, this is where apparently in the same fucking bucket now. The guy that's jogging and the guy that's fucking spent 40 fucking years of his life trying to figure out a way to fucking dazzle you with music. We're all in the same bucket. Great. I'm like, no, fuckers, no, fuck that noise.
Yeah, you're reducing the entirety of like human artistic endeavor to something that's contained in something else.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not what it is. And it's exactly the same as people back in the day too, who used to, because they don't know. It's just ignorance, and I shouldn't really fault them because they just don't know any better. But assuming that that like if you do something you enjoy, that means it's always enjoyable.
And therefore it has no value because you're enjoying it. Because that's, and again from my perspective, that's also part of the whole Amish puritanical like work ethic. Yeah. It must be terrible and it must be torture in order for it to have value. Like Jesus does not accept what you do unless you're suffering for it. Because
by the way, Jesus didn't swim through the waters; he walked on them. That doesn't sound very effortful.
But it's
Your premise is flawed.
Yeah. No, but it's Jesus. Come on, Jesus is the Son of God. We're just fucking peon. We're fucking.
He didn't even run. He walked. He just strolled on the water. He didn't have to tread it. He didn't have to butterfly. He didn't backstroke. He walked.
He's like, hey, he skipped. Yeah. I think that our interpretation of the Bible would be dramatically different if they just said Jesus skipped along the water. You'd be like, oh my God, wow, this is awesome.
Also, by the way, Jesus never had to practice that. That was just always something he could do.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of the that's part of the false narrative too.
No, of course, because
the idea of talent is like this is.
You can't tell me that him at 8 years old he was just walking on water, like he was like, oh yeah, like he's watching all his friends like floundering in the water, and he's like, I'm gonna walk on that shit. No, he was like, okay, well, I'm obviously the Son of God. I must have some special powers. I tried zapping creatures and it didn't work. I tried raising mountains, that didn't work. Maybe I can walk on water. And he stepped out and he's like, oh my God, it feels solid. And he took another step and he fell in. He's like, fuck. Yeah. It took him a long time to figure out the power of walking on water. And he's like, this is the power I got. Oh, great. And I can multiply bread and fish. Great. Those are my superpowers. Fuck you, God.
You also can't tell me the first time that he tried turning water into wine, it was not Chateau Lafite 72. It was like it was
$2 Chuck. It was $2 Chuck.
The first couple, and it probably took him years to be like, wait, I don't even really know how wine is supposed to taste. So maybe I'll go to a couple of tastings in Napa and figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Is it like a big hearty California cab, or is it a light dry Riesling? No, that took years. I guarantee you.
Of course. I mean, come on, guys. Like turn to us for your better interpretation of of biblical know-how. Okay, well, so I think I'm gonna go because I'm actually I need to use the bathroom again.
Okay.
But yeah, man. So okay, so tell us about your future projects. So you've got the new album coming out very, very soon. Yes.
The new one is coming out pretty soon. The overarching theme of this one is death and decay.
Okay.
Because you gotta.
Of course.
So it'll be like all my albums, it'll be an arbitrarily decided number of 10 songs.
Yeah.
It's going to be called Ash because that seemed like a pretty good metaphor for
death and decay,
where we're all going to end up.
No, I promise you, like I'm telling you right now, I'm not going anywhere. I will be here forever and always. I will fight tooth and nail. I am never going to die. I decided it's taken me a good 20 years to figure it out, but like, yeah, fuck
obviously
dying is for fucking posers. Dying is for normies. I'm not a fucking normie. I'm not going to fucking do it. Fuck that noise.
Yes, like mental illness, death equals weakness.
Yes. Am I weak? No, I'm not. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, I'm a strong adult. So yeah, obviously everybody but the two of us is going to end up.
Yes.
But yeah, so after that's done, I really want to do a couple of things that I might actually write at the same time. One of which is I want to write an album of 10 songs that are just one vocal line and what is possible to play on one viola.
Oh, wow.
I won't do them live, but like the kind of thing that I could replicate live if I felt like.
Yeah.
And the other one is, I think maybe, it's sort of taking shape right now, because I've been listening to a lot of Frank Black's Post-Pixies output and Robert Pollard's Post-Guided by Voices output. I want to do something that's sort of in that vein, like sort of an experimental, easygoing, sort of like
easy to digest, but
easy to digest, or not easy to digest, easy to make. Indie rock,
very different. No, okay,
something that's not going to demand, because the other one is going to demand a lot of me mentally. So I just want to like almost sort of improvisatory, maybe, just like this is the kind of. Like it's still in developing stages, but yeah, that's the kind of thing that I think I'm going to do next.
Awesome. All right. So everybody, ericlee.bandcamp, Eric Lee, Lea, ericlee.bandcamp.com. Check that out. You can find Metalark, and you can also find hello. Wait, no, wait. It's
Look out,
Octopus. Here comes Crocagator.
Parentheses, Pointless Cryptids Volume 1, close parentheses.
Yeah, I can cover the cover. I can like the actual artwork. I got the name. Yeah, right. But yeah. So there's wait, hold on. Hold on.
Just because like what is more pointless
Squid,
combination?
Here comes
of...
Crocagator, Pointless Cryptids Volume Number 1. Yeah.
It was just like, you know, because there started being movies like Sharknado and like all of those kind of things. I was like, what's a more pointless combination of two animals than like a crocodile and an alligator, or an octopus and a squid? It was like, why combine those things at all? They're the fucking same.
Same thing. Yeah. No, that's great. No, that's great.
It's awesome. It's just a joke for me.
Yeah, I know. That's great. That's awesome. I love it. And thank you, Lenina. Yeah. So that's where you can find us. Like I promise you, if you just Slothopus.
Slothopus is good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no. Yeah, a jamster or a dramster. No,
that's good. I had a big list of these that are like a lot of which made it into the song Propagator, but like I spent like a day just trying to combine various animals that would be either ridiculous or fucking pointless.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. That's so cool. But I do. So if you have not yet explored Eric's stuff so far, I promise you're gonna have an amazing time. Just digging into it. Just start with Metalark, start with track number 1, and just give it a spin. And I promise
if you have not explored Eric's stuff yet, you're in good company because neither has anybody else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, yeah, but that's right now. That's right now.
Yes.
That's a great thing. So this is what we're doing right now. It lives forever, because I'm capturing it. It's going to live forever on the internet, and then fuck this, and then at some point in time, people will look back and like I guarantee you, like 100 years from now, people are like, what was happening in the fucking 20s? You know. Way back in the raging 20s, where it was all fucking crazy, and then we'll be like, hey, here we are, fucking making good shit, not the fucking bullshit. That's the bullshit. That are albums that have some thought behind them as a comprehensive collection, like, you know, and people are like, oh, that's cool.
Songs that are supposed to mean something other than like, hey, you're pretty, I want to fuck you.
Yeah, right, yeah. Or like, oh no, what was it? No, I just there was a closing song for. What show was I watching? But it was something like I love you and I'm sad because you broke my heart. So now it's time for me to break your heart. And I'm sad that I have to do it, but I have to break your heart because you broke my heart and now I'm sad. And I was like, what? What? That's what? What?
Yeah,
but I'm sad.
The whole genre of
like
all those songs that make the subtext into the text.
Yeah, no, I know. What? Motherfucker. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. I've listened to Metalark, but I haven't heard the new one yet. Oh, yeah. Awesome Retro Road Show. Yeah, right on, man. Right on, brother. All right. I love you guys. I'm going to go. We're going to take off. Adios. You guys have a spectacular rest of your Labor Day. And we'll
or don't.
Or don't. That's
dictate your experience.
I'm not giving you that option, but Eric's giving that option. He's giving you a pass.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, Gatawag. Hey, man. So for those of you that don't know, it is so Gatawag has a brand new channel, and I'm forgetting. It is the Emergent Beacon. It's on YouTube. Emergent Beacon, and I promise you. Check out. In fact, Eric, you should definitely check this out. Emergent, because so he does really deep dives. He does really deep dives into awesome stuff. And he has one on art, and he has one on like just trying to understand what art is and how art and it's fucking mind-boggling. So Emergent Beacon, you guys, this is just us. We're just all friends right now. I promise you, check it out. I promise you will not be disappointed. So anyway, it's so great to see you, brother. That's awesome, Brand. And yeah, all right. So get the fuck. I'm gonna go make some dinner. No, I've got a couple hours. I'm on Italian time, but I'm gonna go do some stuff. I love you guys. Adios.